Hello everyone and welcome to episode 8 of Carry On With Carrie. Today I am so happy to welcome Karli, a good friend of mine, to the podcast today. Hi Karli, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Good, I'm so glad you could join us. I just want to kind of give you guys a little background about Karli. She often says that she's a human being that tries to live as authentically as she can with every passing day. Some of her many accomplishments are having a Bachelor of Science in chemical engineering and over an 18-year experience working as an engineer in the Alberta petrochemical and oil and gas industry. That's pretty amazing.
Thank you.
To be a woman in engineering.
Yeah, and like 18 years, it doesn't feel like 18 years either.
Right.
Like that's crazy.
Flies.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, and imagine the some of what you would have had to, like 18 years ago as a woman getting into engineering. Was it a bit different, or has it?
I didn't have like negative experiences really. Like I haven't experienced significant adversity in terms of like me being a woman in a male-dominated industry. I think it's partly a lot to do with the company that I work with. They really promote diversity and respect in the workplace. So, you know, there have been a few issues, but I don't attribute them to them being rooted in my gender, if that makes sense.
Right.
But yeah, it is definitely a male-dominated industry, but yeah, it's been a really fulfilling career, and I've enjoyed it overall. Yeah,
That's really great. And it's good to hear that you have that. I think also too, it depends on your own, what you give out as well.
Yes.
You know, what I think we'll probably wind up talking about some of that today.
Probably.
So some of the other things that Karli's, a few episodes I've described, Karli's coming and she's going to be doing body talk. I don't know really how to describe what body talk is, but some of her kind of what led to this, you're a beautiful wife.
Thank
to
you.
a good fella, pretty darn good fella. You've been married for 15 years, but together for 19.
Yes.
And you have 2 children, he's 7,
Yeah.
son,
Yeah.
and your daughter's 6 years old.
Yes.
So some of your past experiences with starting a family, was there some challenges that had happened during that time?
Yeah, absolutely. We got married, and then, you know, we decided when it felt right to start, you know, growing our family, having children, and it didn't happen. And I remember being so angry because I felt like I had done everything I was supposed to do. Like I went to university, I got a good job, and you know, I met someone, and then we were building this life together, and I feel like I was always a child that did what I was supposed to do. And if you do what you're supposed to do, then you get what you want to get.
Right.
So this was really the first experience in my life where I felt that I had done everything that I was supposed to do, so why wasn't I getting the outcome that I wanted?
Right.
And that's really how I was introduced to Body Talk, because my mom, one of her best friends that she's known since she was a little girl, so Susan is her name, she's known me my entire life. Right? Because my mom and my mom and Susan grew up together.
Okay.
And my mom had said, you need to go see Susan and have like this body talk session. And I was like, what the heck is body talk? And then I was like, oh, Mom, don't tell me what to do. You know?
Of course, yes.
And, but I went, and eventually, because I trusted her, and I don't know, it just kept coming into my awareness. If I've learned anything, is that when something keeps coming into your awareness, that's the universe nudging you to say, this is going to be in your highest good. So I went, and I just remember leaving that session, and it was like she picked up on stuff that like I hadn't told anybody. And not even that they were like traumatic, but they were more along the lines of hopes and wishes and dreams that I had, and I didn't pursue them because engineering was going to be a good career path. I would be financially secure. So I gave up some creative things, dreams that I had but BodyTalk brought it up. It's like, yeah.
Wow. So that's pretty powerful, really. Like,
yeah.
The fact that you can, I mean, at the time you did what you were, like you said, that was all the smart, made sense answers. Yeah. So BodyTalk came in then, and how did that shift for you at that moment?
Yeah, so that was in when was it? 2010-ish would have been when I had that first session. Might have been 2011. And we didn't have our son until 2015. So it wasn't an immediate shift, but okay. I had to do a lot of work. Looking back, okay. I understand why it took the amount of time that it took, because this was years of kind of not following dreams and stuffing down stuff, and then BodyTalk started to dissolve some of that. Maybe that's the best way for me to describe it. So maybe I should explain what BodyTalk is. So,
sure, that would be great. Yeah.
So BodyTalk it's often referred to as an energy-based healing modality, but ultimately what it actually is it's rooted in consciousness. And whenever I hear the word consciousness, it's like, okay, what does consciousness really mean? Mm-hmm. We can say, oh, I'm conscious of this or I'm conscious of that, but a consciousness-based modality recognizes that everything is connected. And consciousness is also really quantum physics. So again, the engineer in me was like, oh, this is like consciousness is quantum physics, which is the understanding that everything is connected.
Right, which is mind-blowing all in itself, just that whole statement.
It is.
Yeah.
So if everything is truly connected, like what that means is that at a quantum level, every cell in my body knows what every other cell in the universe is doing at every moment in time. So essentially, all you need then, the wisdom exists everywhere to have these things in life that you want.
Right.
But it lives in the mind. It lives in the subconscious mind, usually where the blocks are. It's the subconscious mind, it's the ego living there. And the ego is an amazing thing because it is always trying to protect you.
Right.
It is most of the belief systems that we have, that we go through life, that govern everything that we do, are created by the time we're 7 years old. Okay. So our perception of reality from 0 to 7 is a little bit different than when you're 20 or 30 or 40 or 50.
Right.
And sometimes those belief systems that are rooted in like a 6-year-old's awareness are not going to serve the 30-year-old version.
Right.
So
you're stuck, is what you're saying, you're stuck there because it served you at one point.
Yes.
Okay.
So BodyTalk, it so lovingly embraces the ego, the subconscious mind, creates a safe place so that, and it lets the ego know that you don't need to hold on to this belief system anymore. It's not serving you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you say ego, oftentimes it can, a lot of people will, I said people again, I keep doing that.
Okay.
But ego can be looked at as a negative thing, but I feel like you just put a bit of a loving, like to give self-love is to realize that it's okay to give that love. There's a reason why you had it.
Yes.
Okay.
And really, and the best way to help the ego to understand that it doesn't need to hold on to that belief system for dear life anymore is through love.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I just, so far, see, this is all just so exciting to me. There's so much to learn about this, and I'm sure, again, it's one of those things where we could sit and talk for hours. So it might be a couple of times if you're ever willing to come back. I always put that out there. But I guess because of what we're doing with this podcast is we're looking at mental health and how it affects you, and how would body talk correlate along with that, with mental health and with getting better, with wellness, with...
Yeah, I mean, how do I answer that? So I feel, and please tell me if this is not resonating or if I'm going down the wrong path here, and I'm out to lunch, because I experienced, fertility conception challenges, right?
Yes.
Which definitely did impact my mental wellness.
100%.
But I've never experienced like a deep depression. So I just want to be very aware that you understand that.
Right. And I appreciate that, and that's the thing with mental health, is it has such a wide spectrum. You don't have to be in the depths of despair to have had. That's why I want to do this, because you're not, like, so many people, almost everybody has a time in their life where it's not as and wonderful as it could be. Exactly.
So I feel like sometimes I feel like when I do get frustrated with the state of life, because while I don't have, extreme challenges, I do have day-to-day challenges. Like a 7 and 6-year-old don't always do what I want them to do at the time, right? So I feel like how body talk can help, and how it's certainly helped me, is it's helped me understand that embracing the moment and embracing reality, because I feel like so much of when I get frustrated is when my expectation is unrealistic for what the reality is. So I feel like what that does is that is the universe sending you a trigger, because there's a belief system that you're holding that is creating that mismatch between, like, why can't you love the moment?
Right.
Like, why can't I love the moment of we were down in the library picking out books, and I'm like, we got to get up here. Why couldn't I just love the moment that they are being a 7 and 6-year-old enjoying the space they're in?
Right.
I was putting this expectation that we have to be somewhere by a certain time, so I wasn't loving the moment. So I feel like body talk helps you to get more into the heart and loving the moment. And I still need reminders to do that.
Right.
I don't know if that answered your question at all, Carrie.
Oh, of course it did, because that's where, I mean, and I'm hoping we can get into kind of, I know, breaking down how you find out about different areas of the body and what needs work, and that can correlate right there. If you're having problems with your liver, if you're having problems with your digestive system, all of that can lead to, maybe that's why your mood levels are different, or your hormonal levels are different.
That's an excellent observation, because it's true. Like, because if you're expecting health and you're not experiencing health, that can create anxiety, depression, fear, worry, grief, emotions, right? And emotions are meant to be in motion. So getting them moving, and body talk, that's a bit of a tangent here, but popped into my awareness, and body talk also is about getting things moving again.
Right.
And when those emotions are moving and they're not stagnant, that's also very healthy.
Right. So when you say could it be crying?
Oh, yeah.
For instance.
Experiencing the emotion.
Right. Well, I'm good at moving my emotions then.
I'm generally, and like every emotion has a purpose.
Yes.
And I remember when that was introduced to me in Body Talk, it was like a light bulb just went off, like particularly anger. Like, and I feel like anger is so misunderstood in our society. Anger, the healthy expression of anger is to get us to move. It's to make us like not happy with our current situation so that we actually do something about it.
Right. Yeah. I know. We've always put it, there's a reason for all of our feelings, our emotions.
Yes.
You actually brought up that when you were having a difficult time conceiving, that you were angry.
Oh, yeah. I was pissed.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Did you feel guilty for being pissed? Did you feel, you know what I mean?
No.
It just was. That's how you felt, and you went with it. Yeah.
Yeah. I was just really angry, but looking back, that anger got me to do something about it.
Right. And
not just like the Western medical model, I did feel supported by it, but it's a lot of, take this drug, do this treatment, do this. And those hormonal drugs also create a bit of create a roller coaster. So being able to integrate some other modalities that were not drugs was just really, I remember feeling very supported.
Right.
Yeah.
And who was it I know that your mom introduced you to someone that practiced Body Talk.
Yeah.
How was it that you went about learning and getting into it yourself?
So I'm very curious, and I left a few sessions and I was like, I don't understand how she can, link my ovary to my liver, to my, lung, tap my head, tap my heart, tap my abdomen, and all of a sudden my morning waking temperatures are normal.
Oh, wow.
Like, I could not, literally I would have a session and my temperatures were all over the map, and then I would have a week of temperatures, basal body temperatures of exactly where they're supposed to be.
Right.
And so I was curious, like, I just can't wrap my head around how this works. And so I started studying it myself because maybe it's the engineer in me, I just want to know how things work. And I started studying it myself, and the more that I understood about it, the more that I just had to learn more and more and more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned the tapping. Like, I know that I've been taught with a few different, I had to go through EMDR.
Okay.
I know that's a bit different, but she'll also do the tapping with me, and I don't know if it's exactly the same kind of thing, but it basically gets you to take a negative thought and almost retrain your brain away from it, kind of. Like,
okay.
I'm not an EMDR specialist, so I can't tell you exactly what it does. It seems to be helping, but hopefully I'll have another episode about all that too. But can you tell us what the tapping and exactly what it is that you are curious about?
Yeah.
Is there a way to describe that for people to make sense?
I will give it a try.
Okay, perfect.
So what they tell us when we take the training is that the act of tapping the brain is you're creating a frequency, like a standing wave almost, if you will. So you tap the head, and that is engaging the brain, like where the mind, where the ego, or the subconscious, the conscious mind is living. So you tap and you create this standing wave, which is in the frequency of the formula, the items that have just been identified that need to be linked together.
Right.
Because that's what a formula, a Body Talk formula is. It's identifying what things within the body and the mind complex need to be reconnected, like establish communication so that you're creating that standing wave so that something different, a different experience of reality, shedding of belief systems, whatever it is. So you create that standing wave by tapping the brain, which is in frequency with that formula that you've just uncovered. And then you tap over the heart, because the heart is really the master. The heart is the emperor on the throne. It is the one that is supposed to be in lead. The brain is meant to be the servant of the heart. It often wants to be the master, though.
Right.
So you tap the heart, and that's often like pressing the save button on your computer. It's like, brain, tune into this frequency, heart, save it, and emperor on the throne. And then you tap over the gut brain, the stomach, because that's where the gut brain is. So the 3 brains, you're engaging all 3 brains, which aids in the integration and the storage of that formula so that it stays with that body-mind complex.
Wow.
That's how I think of it, and it's a bit of what our textbook says, and then it's also a little bit of how I think I've chosen to, how it resonates with me.
Yeah. Well, it's actually funny that I talked to somebody recently about, she's had many concussions, and she described exactly that she didn't describe the heart as a brain, but the brain.
Yeah.
And that your stomach, when you have a concussion, your stomach takes over for your brain because it's like your other brain. And I was like, okay, I don't really understand that, but is this kind of...
That is not shocking at all. No, not shocking at all. The 3 brains, they're all connected, and studies, I wish I could reference the exact study, but I'm going to trust that the BodyTalk instructors, they've done, that I've studied under, and they reference studies that these are true and real. But they say there is such science, medical science is finding such a connection between the gut brain and the brain. And I think that we are also seeing that with so much emphasis on like probiotics, and healthy digestion is supports the healthy, like a healthy body. And there is like that gut brain connection. I do believe it's real. And I'm trying to even think of, I've read a bunch of books, but none of them are popping in as a great example to support what I'm stating, but
yeah, we can always throw them in later.
Okay.
And I can even put them in a description at some point. And if people have or would like any references. I guess when you think about it, when they talk about mental health, proper nutrition, sleep, exercise, again, that's all of those things that when you think about it, it's not so far reaching to think that, this is a huge part, like your stomach, your heart, so I just find all this so fascinating. So I did have to ask you had mentioned that your children, when they're not feeling all that 100%, they come and ask you for something called Cortices? Cortices.
Yeah.
Okay, I know I've heard you say that before, and I couldn't remember how to say it. So Cortices. Now, can you explain that?
Yeah, so it is such a fundamental technique in BodyTalk, and actually most BodyTalkers do it every day, I would say. And I know I teach all of, like, if someone comes as a client, there's a good chance I'm teaching them, because it's something you can do every day. And it builds upon the previous day's cortices that you did. So what it is it's a brain balancing technique. So it balances out the left and the right sides of the brain, the left and the right hemisphere, and it provides a level of calm. It's like brain, it's like it's saying, brain, calm down. And even as I do it, that's like the mantra that I'm saying. It's like I'm doing cortices, and if I feel overwhelmed, I will sit and I will do cortices, and It's like, brain, calm down. So you engage those hemispheres and also the limbic brain, which is the emotional brain. You're getting all the way down to the reptilian brain, as well as the cortex, hence cortices. So it's such a fundamental technique, and I think it's so simple, and it takes like 30 seconds.
Right. And it is simply, do you have to tap, like you said with the...
I know we're on a podcast, but what you do is you start at the back of the brain.
The nape?
The nape of the neck is a great description, and you place a hand, it's like you cradle the back of your head, making sure you're touching both the left and the right hemisphere. And then with an open hand, your other hand, you would tap over your head, your heart, and your abdomen. And that what you would do is you would walk your hand up one position so that you're cradling, again, the back of your head, but one hand positioned higher.
Right.
And then tap your head, tap your heart, tap your abdomen. And then you do all the positions.
The crown of your head.
The crown of your head all the way up to the forehead. You do want to cover the eyebrows. Tap head, tap heart, tap abdomen. And once you've done all those positions, then you take both hands, and on either side of your head, so you're going to be like right above the ear, basically, covering that limbic brain, which is the sides of the head. You cover that, and I sit here for a few breath cycles to establish that energetic connection, because our hands do create a magnetic pole.
Right.
And then what I do is I release both hands, and then with one hand I tap my head, the other hand I tap my heart, and then that hand that's tapping the head, I then bring it down and tap the abdomen.
Okay. And that's that.
That's that.
Wow.
That's it. So I don't know, I'll be curious to hear people who are just hearing it.
If it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if there's a way to even...
Oh, I should give you a link to the video on the BodyTalk website.
That would be perfect.
Yes.
If you have that available,
I
then I can put that with this, and it would work great.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like literally 30 seconds. And I've even done it, in the bathroom, like whatever.
Wherever you have a moment,
Exactly.
Yeah. I've gotten over the fact that if somebody's watching me and thinks, what the hell is she doing right now? I don't care.
I feel like...
You're probably thinking, well, I want to know what she's doing.
Yeah.
Right?
I feel like at my engineering job, people who know me, like if they walk by and they see me tapping, it's like, oh, that's just Karli doing her tappy stuff,
right.
Well,
and that was something I was given at a previous job. It was such a high anxiety job that I was given these tapping.
Yep.
And I can't remember how it even went, but I was supposed to tap like this shoulder, that shoulder, and all these things. And my therapist at the time says, well, you may not want to do it like in front of other people. So then you can do it like a spot that's not as obvious.
Yeah.
And I wound up doing it that way anyways, because it helped. Yeah. It worked, and it took my brain to a healthier spot. Yeah. Right? Took me out of the anxiety.
And probably out of the sympathetic and into the parasympathetic. And that's also what it can support.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, is there a way what would be something important for you to really get out there as far as how BodyTalk can help someone? What, if somebody comes to you and they've been experiencing symptoms from their diabetes, for instance, is this something that you can help with? Is there
So, do I believe BodyTalk can help diabetes? I do. I think that every practitioner is going to have kind of their niche, the things that they're most comfortable with. So me in particular, probably not the best fit for diabetes.
Okay.
But, I think that a lot of us, we are happy to refer to people who can, but knowing like diabetes, it is blood sugar, right? So some of the things and it doesn't mean that I couldn't do a session for them. And I if they resonated with me, I absolutely would.
Yes.
And anyway, so I digress. But diabetes is blood sugar. Yes. So where my mind would initially go is the pancreas. And the pancreas is all about it's like the sweetness of life.
Okay.
So there's always, when somebody has a condition like diabetes or something with their liver, something with like their stomach, asthma, lungs, there is a consciousness underpinning that organ or that endocrine or that body part. So what tends to happen is these things don't happen to individuals by mistake. There are belief systems. Again, it comes back to belief systems. So if somebody has diabetes and if they were on my table, it wouldn't shock me that if we got taken to the pancreas and the consciousness of the sweetness of life. Do you allow yourself to enjoy the sweetness of life? Or do you restrict yourself from enjoying the sweetness of life? There's probably something to do there. And there could be active memories from childhood that are triggering. I mean, there's so many different places you could go. And then likewise, if like asthma, the ability, like the lungs are one of the places where we process grief. So there could be something around, do you allow yourself, and grief, the purpose of grief is to allow us to dissipate active memories enough so that where we end up is gratitude. So I would probably kind of ask some questions around, do you allow yourself to let go? Is there something you're not grieving? Is there, how easily do you find yourself the ability to be grateful? The body is always giving us clues about what is being held, what belief systems the ego is holding on to again for dear life.
Right.
That if there's an awareness that this is causing discomfort for them, then that's the universe saying you're ready to let that belief system go.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's basically what it is then. Each organ holds on to an emotion.
Well, yeah, yes.
Am I getting that right? Or
yes, because traditional Chinese medicine, all the meridians, they, like, you've got the kidney meridian, the bladder, like all the organs are a meridian, and every meridian is governed by an emotion.
Okay.
So, like, anger, like liver and gallbladder are anger. And what that means is that, like, anger kind of gives animation to that meridian. And when you experience anger, if you don't process it in a healthy way and you stuff it down, what's going to happen is it actually goes to the diaphragm to try to be released. And then if the diaphragm to intestines connection if the intestines aren't willing to take it and let it go, it then says to the diaphragm, no, this anger, I can't get rid of it. So then the diaphragm is going to say, okay, liver, you're all about, the consciousness of the liver is planning and organizing. So that anger is going to go to the liver. For the liver is going to say, okay, I need to figure out where to put this anger. The first place it's going to look to send that anger is the liver or the gallbladder meridian. And as long as there's space along that meridian, that's where anger is going to go and be stored until something happens in their life that loosens it and brings it back to the diaphragm for an opportunity to actually process it and let it go.
Okay. And when you say when something happens in their life to let it go, are you talking about a major experience, healing, just any number of things?
Could be.
Okay.
Yeah. It could be a crisis, or it could be a yin yoga session.
Right.
Or it could be a meditation.
It could be the simplest thing.
It could be a walk outside.
Okay.
But the body and the universe are always happening for you. So it's going to know that moment when, okay, this can mobilize again, and the body's in a better place to process it and let it go.
Right. Okay, so yeah, that's beautiful actually. What about, okay, so skin. Your skin is an organ.
Yes.
Now, somebody, a younger adult that is suffering from acne or gets burnt easily, I mean, just sensitive skin, any of those kinds of things, has allergic reactions. Let's work with acne in particular. Is there something that's correlated from?
So any kind of eruption is anger.
Okay, also.
Yeah. So I've said what the healthy expression is, movement.
Right.
The unhealthy expression of anger is explosion. So that could be your appendix bursting. That could be your gallbladder acting up. It could be like an outburst of verbal. It could be acne on the skin coming out. It's an eruption of some kind.
Right.
Yeah.
So how would you, in that instance, how would you help somebody get, is that something that's doable?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'm biased.
Right.
I think that BodyTalk could help to support anything.
Can you give us an example of how you would do that?
Oh.
Is that too hard to ask?
I don't know. I mean, like, the thing with a BodyTalk formula for each person is it's so individualized.
Right.
Like, it's going to be what that person needs. So, I mean, it could be, let's say there is a bit of a food intolerance, like dairy. One of the things that I could get taken to is body chemistry. Oh, I should say the first thing we do in BodyTalk is I check permissions. Do I have permission to work with this person on all levels?
Right.
And we could come up with, there could be a subconscious resistance that we need to clear before I can proceed. But let's say someone is presenting with acne and it's affecting them. Like their mental, emotional, like I get it.
Yeah.
It can be devastating for people who have it severe. One of the things that's very possible is if there is a food intolerance, let's say it's dairy, I would get taken to body chemistry. Intolerance, I would find out, is it a physical intolerance? Is it a mental intolerance? Is it a spiritual? Like, on what level is this intolerance?
Right.
Let's say we get taken to, no, it's a physical. Okay, is it food? Yeah, it's food. Okay, what are the common culprits? Oh, dairy. Oh, yeah, dairy is. Okay, so there's an intolerance. It doesn't mean you're allergic, but there is an intolerance here.
Right.
It's very possible then that I would need to link to the gut microbiome, find out maybe there is an imbalance. We don't have enough like H. pylori or something.
And what is that?
Oh, it's one of the good bugs of the microbiome that everything needs to be in the proper balance.
Okay.
And if everything is in the proper balance of the good bacteria, then the guts are amazing.
Right.
When there's an imbalance, though, it can throw everything off. So there's mutualists of the gut microbiome, and these are the ones that, in a good balance, a good harmony, you're good.
So mutual.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's say H. pylori came up, we need to link. Let's say it's maybe in excess and it's causing that ratio to be off. Okay, then we need to bring that down, and then you might get taken to, a consciousness item of what could be something that we get taken to. A consciousness of the bladder, which there could be fear of something, and fear that you're going to break out again, or like you don't know, right? So it could create this terrible cycle, and then let's say
thigh bones connected to the
yes, and then that could be the formula. That could be it, and then once you uncover all of the connections, all the links, then you'll kind of get to a dead end, and that's like, okay, nothing further. Okay, is implementation the priority? Yes. Tap out the priority? Yes. And then that's when you would proceed to tap the head, the heart, and the abdomen.
Okay.
And then observe.
Right.
See what happens. And spontaneous healing can occur. I believe that that's possible. I've experienced that. But sometimes it also takes a bit of time.
Right. So is that now, so to put into practice some of the things that would lead to all this, to the healthy mutual relationships between your body parts, I guess, is the best way to put it. But is that different practices such as staying in the now, meditation, any of that kind of stuff? Or is it something that you do think you need to actually kind of put in check with something like BodyTalk once in a while? Like, is there an easy answer to that? Like, if you're very conscious, like you said, everything has an energy and...
Oh, I get what you're asking.
Making sense?
Yeah, I'm like, I think I get what you're asking. And hopefully I do, and I respond in a...
And if not, I probably didn't make much sense.
No, it's all good. So... Like I think what your question is, if someone is always present, always living in the now, or is this it?
Yeah, just not even always.
Okay.
But if you feel, like I know for myself, when I start to feel a shift in my energy, in fact, we brought that up today before we started recording. I said, is there something funky going on right now?
Oh, yeah.
Right? Where everybody's moods are a little bit off and all that. So if you become a little bit more aware of yourself, within yourself, not all the time, because I think that's impossible unless you're like a Buddha. Yeah, exactly. And I bet they even have some days.
I hope so, but I don't, like, an enlightened person, like, is enlightened, like, and anyway, that's a whole other conversation. Yes. But for like a regular person, when you start to feel your mood, like being impacted, is there something going on? Yeah, I would say there is, and whether you are conscious of it or not, because it might even be, I think, when you mentioned that before we started, my response was, well, the planets are like in a lot of squares right now, and we have a lot of planets in fixed signs right now, which is a lot of, can be a bit stubborn. And
by fixed, you mean there's no movement at all? They're very stuck, like you said.
Very stuck, and like kind of tunnel vision. It's like, this is how things need to be done, and not a lot of flexibility.
Right. And when you say signs, we're talking about...
Oh, I'm talking about astrological.
Right. Just so we...
Yes. Thank you. Yes, sorry. I've been studying astrology lately, which... The planets are part of BodyTalk as well.
Right.
So it's actually deepening my understanding, and that's why planets actually come up a lot more in my sessions lately, because I feel like I understand them better, and they have so much meaning for me now. So I guess back to your question, sorry. Nope. I'm really bad for that. But
it's okay. That's why I love this, because I love conversation that just goes one. Yeah, exactly.
So when you start to feel in a bit of a funk, that's a great opportunity to tune in, like, what is the universe trying to nudge me, like to tell me? Have I been overworking myself? Have I not been resting? Am I feeling fulfilled in my dreams and my desires? And because I don't know that in this human experience we're supposed to be happy every moment. And actually, one of my instructors in BodyTalk said that, like, she doesn't believe that we're supposed to always experience highs of life, because if you only experience the highs of life and you draw those highs in life together, what you end up getting is a flat line. And if you're in an operating room, you do not want to see a flat line. What does that mean? That means you're dead.
Right. Wow.
So I don't think that as a human, in this human experience on planet Earth, that we're supposed to only experience highs. I think we are supposed to experience lows, but it's the resiliency. How are we able to pull ourselves out, either on our own or with support? Tools, and everybody's going to find the tool that works for them, I hope anyway. So that you can get back, and then you can have appreciation for that challenging, that dip, right?
Right. And I think that's the thing is, if you're happy all the time, you wouldn't know what sorrow was, and you wouldn't know if you were sorrow all the time, you wouldn't know what happy was. And so it's that balance. It's always trying to figure out a balance of like whether it's for eating or exercise or whatever it is, it's all about balance.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it's so important to get out to more people some of these. Like, I would have never known about BodyTalk until I met you.
Yeah.
And I want others to find out. It could be, for me, there's a multiple amount of things that have helped me.
Yeah.
I've meditation, reading, podcasts. I have a therapist. I'm in AA. I think I told you that. I've got this beautiful meditation group. There's so many different things. I've started hypnotherapy. I've had a BodyTalk session with you. I've done with Tabitha. We did the Akashic Records. It's a whole bunch of things put together that maybe you just pick something out of each little one.
Yeah.
And maybe it won't resonate with somebody.
Yeah.
Right? So you give it a try. It's just knowing that there are the options available.
Absolutely.
So if we will give out your information as to, how to get a hold of Karli if you have any questions about either booking for a BodyTalk session or finding out more about it. Is that?
Yeah, absolutely. And one other thing that I thought of as you were sharing is that every practitioner does have a different style, a different flavor. And, I always tell people when they come to me, if this doesn't resonate with you, or if it does, whatever, like, great. But don't write off BodyTalk as a whole. Right. Like, another practitioner's with their experience. Like, I did come through an engineering background. I am dominant, very left brain. Mm-hmm. I am embracing that right brain, but so my style is going to be different than, someone else. And I think the universe is telling you which practitioner. And I always tell my clients, they're like, oh, when should I come back? It's like, well, BodyTalk doesn't prescribe, so I can't tell you when to come back. Mm-hmm. You will know. Yeah. Like, the universe will tell you. You'll just be going about your day and you'll think of me. Mm-hmm. That's the universe telling you.
That simple.
It's that simple.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. We always, last week we talked to Jen, and it's the overcomplication of such a simple answer most of the time.
Yeah.
Right? And just that little bit of intuition that you have, which is the universe, just trying to tell you, hey, little nudge, nudge.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, my foot hurts. Well, why does my foot hurt? Because, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, we can all relate to that. Where an ache or a pain will just start today. Well, why? Why did that hip just start? Well, did I bend funny? Is it because I'm getting older? What's happening? But oftentimes sometimes it'll just magically disappear.
Yep.
So what did you fix or change to make that happen without even realizing you did it?
Yeah.
Am I on the right track here?
Totally.
Okay.
All you need for something to change is observation.
Right.
That's it. Like, really.
Well, and I just love talking about this stuff. It's awesome. Like you said, you could have a therapist and you go to them for a while and you realize, this just is not working for me.
Yeah.
You wind up, okay, well, I'm going to try another one.
Yeah.
It winds up being the best fit ever. You could but you could also go through 10 different traditional therapists. Mm-hmm. And you still might not find the right one. But you still, you know what I mean? It's even within one practice, it's still about the universe to me, because I know for me right now, I feel like it's been aligned that I've wound up with the help that I've been looking for so long. And it's almost like I've been fit with these certain characters that are really working together.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's kind of how I'm
Yeah.
picking up what you're kind of putting down.
Yep.
Without sounding like a complete geek, but anyways.
Yeah. Picking up. My husband always says, "You're picking up what I'm swathing."
Oh, that's good.
farming background reference.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Is there anything? Okay, I've been asking everybody. First of all, is there anything about Body Talk that you would really like to leave everybody with? And that might be a very general, wide question, but is there something that you find?
I feel like I've talked so much about a lot of things about it. I think that the biggest thing for me, I find it's such a gentle, loving modality that is really about coming back to letting the heart be the leader. Yeah. The mind is a wonderful servant and a terrible master. So to me, Body Talk supports in a very loving way, calming that ego, calming that mind so that it doesn't feel like it needs to be the master.
Right.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I want to ask, and I've been asking everybody this, what is the last best thing that you can do at bedtime before your head hits the pillow every night?
Breathe. Yeah. Breathe in, breathe out. Bring awareness to the breath. Allow that diaphragm to rise and fall and massage those internal organs. A full breath cycle allows all of the energetic things like meridians, chakras to be scanned. It's just what is that saying? Perfect breath, perfect health. Just breathe.
It's that, again,
Yeah.
that simple, just breathe.
It's that simple.
And it sounds like such a silly thing to say to people sometimes, but it is literally, and I think I forget to breathe sometimes.
I think we all do.
I think we all do. So we just need to breathe.
Yep.
Right? Well, this has been wonderful. I thank you so much again for being here.
You're welcome.
Karli has such a busy life, and like I said, she's got 2 young kids, and I said to her husband came by to get them before he left.
Yeah.
And I said, well, thanks for lending me your beautiful wife and your mom.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, I don't want to go.
But I said, I'll be home in plenty of time to put you to bed.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you taking the time out to talk to everybody and just give a little bit more insight as to what you do, and maybe we can have a Body Talk session one time on I don't know if that's something that you can do, or if that's a hard thing to get across.
I don't know. No, Body Talk sessions are done by distance all the time. Okay. I listen to a lot of audio Body Talk sessions. Yeah, I think it's possible.
Okay, well, we'll talk. We'll talk.
Yes, and thank you for inviting me. This has been a real pleasure.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And Karli's amazing. We've hung out now a few times. We went to the art museum together, about a month and a half ago.
Yeah.
Just beautiful. It's stuff like that. It's just, making your mind healthy, and for me, it was I hadn't done that for a long time, so almost like a new experience again, and just made me very happy. So anyways, today, and I just wanted to end on a note of just letting everybody know that I am not a mental health expert. This podcast is meant to come from the perspective of just experiences that I've had, and the experiences of those that are sharing. If there's anything that anybody is interested in hearing more about, please just send me a message. You can find me on Instagram at Carry On With Carrie podcast _podcast, and Facebook Carry On With Carrie. And just give me a listen on Spotify, give me a follow, and just share the podcast if you can. I just want to make a difference one person at a time. If it helps one person, that's the goal I'm reaching for. So thank you again, and have a great 24 hours.